Good morning, everyone. I think it's Friday. I'm not really sure. These days are just ticking along, aren't they? So I hope you're all okay. It's a beautiful sunny morning here in Geneva. One thing I have noticed is the quiet. There's not very many cars going past, and the silence is quite beautiful. I think many of you know that I do like silence. I think it's a really important part of the day, to have some silence. But it's incredible just listening to just the birds and the emptiness and everything else. So it's quite beautiful. So I hope you slept okay. I hope that you feel well rested and ready for the weekend, whatever the weekend's going to bring, because obviously these are very peculiar, strange times, aren't they? So I had a very strange dream in the early hours of this morning, which was very, very, very odd. I dreamt I was on a cruise ship, and I didn't know it was a cruise ship. I thought I was supposed to be driving it. I've never driven a ship in my life. And I don't know if Claire's watching. She knows that I'm not very good at captaining in a ship at all. We've had some hysterics with the robot boats in Derwentwater in Keswick. And it took me quite a while to learn how to do those. So morning to all of you. Welcome on board. So if any of you want any dream interpretation, so I was dreaming about being on a huge ocean liner that was like a cruise ship, but everybody just slept on the floor. They didn't sleep in cabins and things, which was a bit peculiar. So I woke up, I was in the middle of the boat. I didn't know where I was. This is obviously in the dream. And then I kind of thought, well, somebody should be captaining this ship, and it should be me. And obviously it wasn't. And it was just so peculiar. So I was trying to decide which was the front of the boat and which was the back of this boat. And then I had to go upstairs. And when I went upstairs, there was a grid over the kind of hatch or door. Anyway, I managed to open it. I was trying not to make any noise because several of the passengers were fast asleep. Anyway, when I got upstairs, they were just crashed on the floor, kind of on a mattress with a sleeping bag over them. So it was really peculiar, and I thought the back of the boat was the front of the boat and vice versa. There was a huge crew when I eventually did get to the front of the boat that were driving the ship, and it was fine. And so we were told that we were going to Greece, and for whatever reason I could see in the distance the beautiful Greek islands and Greek chapels and the beaches and everything, but it just felt very, very strange. And I thought, well, why are we going to Greece? I haven't planned to go to Greece, so I have no idea. The power of the subconscious mind is really, really, really quite something. And it's very important for those of you that do have dreams and do remember your dreams. It's very important to pay attention to them because they can be quite revealing. So I have absolutely no idea what that one means. If any of you want to do some dream interpretation or anything, then feel free. I just thought it was really quite peculiar, and it did take me a while to come around this morning. So yeah, I've been on a boat, I've been all the way over to Greece, and then obviously just slipped my way back into Geneva overnight. I know there were a few of you disappointed that I wasn't doing the meditation last night, but I just need to take care of me at this time. I'm proofreading the last book that I've just written, and Peter's asked me to write another one about energies and clearing energies in our homes, and kind of trying to explain as much as I can the work I did with Bapa Manku when I was in Bali training with a medicine man for 8 months. So I'm going to start cracking on with that later on today. So I just found that doing a session live in the morning and then doing one in the evening was just a little bit overwhelming, really. So I do apologise. I know a few of you had missed last night's slot. So as I always do, when I'm doing workshops or whatever, I'm going to go with my intuition. And it may be that I put a small meditation into the morning's mix. Excuse me, if any of you have any preferences, then you know, please do let me know. So yeah, I hope you're all okay. It's Friday. The days are passing so quickly, aren't they? I don't know if any of you are really struggling with things. If any of you are and you want me to send some healing, or you want some advice, or you want a session with me of hypnotherapy or anything like that, just private message me, because these are challenging times. And yeah, it's you know, nothing's normal, but what's normal anyway? But just listening to the silence is really, really, I just love silence. I love peace and quiet. It was interesting when I was in Bali, because, you know, in the morning the noise of the insects and the noise of the birds was just out of this world, and then in the evening it would be the same, and then in the evening you could actually hear the frogs in the rice paddies, and the noises were spectacular. So a friend of mine has just sent a video of a walk she did earlier this morning with the sheep, and to my knowledge there were no sheep in the city of Geneva. And it was quite lovely just listening to the sheep and listening to the lambs. And I know yesterday a few of you sent me pictures of your beautiful gardens and beautiful flowers and a vase of daffodils and different things. It's really, really appreciated. You know, spending time travelling last year was absolutely wonderful. But I miss the grass, I miss the flowers, I miss the daffodils, the crocus, and, you know, the hyacinths, and many of the spring flowers. So it's been a delight when I've been able to go in the park here to actually see them. And equally, feel free if any of you, you know, want to send me any pictures of trees or flowers or anything like that. I think because many of you can't get out or are quite limited, you know, when you think back to what we used to put on Facebook, you know, friends and family used to put on there what the children have been doing, or pictures of the beach, or, you know, pictures of the park and things like that. And obviously, I know there's some really funny videos going around on Facebook and things like that, which is wonderful. But, you know, it was lovely to see all family pictures and things. So what I did this morning on Facebook, I put some pictures on from when I was in Varanasi last year with the water buffalo. And those creatures were huge. You know, they come up to about here, so they're about 5 foot tall, and they are big, thundering creatures. And when they went on the road, the traffic stopped, which was just amazing, because India is such a crazy, crazy place. And these creatures used to go and bathe in the Ganges, and people would be washing and swimming at the side of them. It was very, very, very humbling. And then when they'd have their afternoon bathe in the heat of the sun, they would then walk past the hotel and walk past the window, going back to wherever it was they went. But such graceful, beautiful creatures. And I just think it's time to go back to nature, time to appreciate the basic things in life. And it's time for us all to kind of think about our creative talents. Maybe some of you have started painting or drawing. I know many of you are doing the homeschooling with the children. And children tend to be so creative. They don't care about singing at the top of the voice. They don't care about dancing. And I think it's good for all of us to dance in the kitchen, to sing as if no one's listening, and really get in touch with our creative side. So, in light of the fact that we all need to stay sane through this insanity that's going on through the world, or maybe this recalibration that's going on in the world, I think it would be good to maybe make time in your day for some silence. Many of you know I start the day usually with a meditation, and then I may well do some Tai Chi or some yoga or some exercising or some, not necessarily dancing in the kitchen, but, you know, dancing in the lounge, just to exercise. I have put some videos on my Facebook for Tai Chi, for yoga. My friend Ian sent me, he's a fitness trainer, and he sent me some videos the other day. So if any of you want anything like that, for goodness sake, just ask, you know. So yeah, I just hope that you're all taking care of yourselves. I hope you're all eating healthy, taking care of your immune systems. Um, Maybe some of you have started journaling, maybe some of you have started writing the book that you always wanted to write, or reading the books that you maybe didn't. Maybe some of you are watching your favourite movies, reading your favourite poems, maybe you are writing poems. And we must find in ourselves the strength to take personal responsibility for ourselves, and we must find the strength, and it's not always easy. I'm not gonna lie to you, you know. We must find in ourselves the strength to just keep going, you know. Through this time, none of us know how long it's going to be, and I guess all of us could say, you know, a different day, same old shit, or same old boredom, or same old, same old, same old. But you know, I can see the sunset from the apartment I'm in. If the weather's clear, I can see the top of the French mountains from here. And when we learn to take joy in the most simple things, and it's not always easy, we all have bad days. I had a wobbly day on Wednesday for different reasons. Yesterday was a good day, and today is yet to unfold. But you know, if we start the intention and think, you know, today started bad, it's going to be crap, and we allow ourselves to continue with that, then, you know, it's pretty much guaranteed that it will. If we look for the joy in the simple things, when I used to hear the insects, or the frogs, or the birds, or, you know, anything like that when I was in Bali, then it was a joy. When the farmers were harvesting the rice paddies, it was absolutely beautiful, because as they harvested the rice paddies and collected the rice, which was very, very humbling, I can assure you, watching the labour of these people, you know, in the heat, and also watching the camaraderie between them. They all looked after each other, they all took a picnic at lunch, they knew when to rest in the heat of the day. And then they would rest, and then they would come back for a couple of hours towards the end of the day before sunset. But the humility of watching them, you know, while the rice was growing, and picking the weeds out between the rice plantations. And then, you know, you could see that they all had backache and achy arms and achy shoulders and that kind of thing after they'd been working. And it was just so humbling, because, you know, how often do we just go to the supermarket, go to Tesco, Asda, or wherever, we just get the rice and we might cook too much and we might throw some away. You know, when you watch these people and you've seen the basics of the simplicity of these wonderful people, you have more respect. And it's back to that key word, isn't it? I think I've mentioned it every day on these sessions. It's back to respect. And if we respect ourselves enough, then we eat healthy. If we respect ourselves enough, we drink healthy. We exercise healthy and everything else. But you know, there are days when we have wobbles, and we're allowed to have wobbles, because we all do, you know. And I think when we find our own peace, our own sense of peace, and you know, if any of you are, I hope, enjoying the silence, maybe some of you resist silence, maybe you want Metallica all loud in the background or something. But even if you do struggle with silence, just try, I would suggest, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but if you maybe just try and have 5 or 10 minutes peace and quiet. If you're struggling with children at home, I can understand that, you know, because often children, they have the TV on, or they're just talking all the time, because children are just in the moment. But children are listening to reading books, or maybe you're reading with them. I know David Williams is reading a story every day from his books, and he's quite something. What a wonderful gesture to do. I listened to one of the stories the other day, it was wonderful. So if you can find silence in the day, if you've got a partner, maybe say, look, you have the kids for an hour, I'm just going to go in one of the other rooms, and I'm just going to have some peace and quiet. We've all got to find our level. I know a very dear friend of mine has a most magnificent garden, and it overlooks the mountains in Wasdale, and it's very precious. The house is calm, the garden's calm, And I know obviously I haven't got a garden here because I'm in an apartment in Geneva, and I do miss my garden in England for sure. But nonetheless, at least I can go in the park. So every day, I'm writing a new book. I'm obviously keeping busy on social media with friends and family through WhatsApp and FaceTime, and obviously doing these sessions in the morning. But I also need time where I just can be. So, if I go out in the afternoon for maybe an hour or so, maybe a couple of hours, either walk down to the lake or the park at Eau Vive or the park here in the Old Town, which is spectacular, and walk by the cathedral, then it just gives me some time out. So, if any of you are in need of time out, or in need of just some peaceful adjustment, maybe make a sacred space for yourself, an area where you kind of have a little candle perhaps, or I have a lovely card here of Lord Buddha. I have some sacred things, like this was from my granddaughter, the Christmas before I left England. You might have a sacred space with your crystals and things like that. I've got some more crystals here, and it was interesting. I always remember I had a client who I adored a few years ago. She was so lovely. She was recommended to me by another client, and she'd seen Reiki change her life. And she met this lady on holiday, and she just knew that she was quite poorly. And she approached her and said, you don't seem to be quite yourself. Is there anything I can do for you? I'm trained in Reiki. And this woman said, well, I've got cancer and I'm due to go for radiotherapy and chemotherapy any time. So my friend Rachel said to her, well, there's a lady who might be able to help you, and why don't you think about going to see her when you get back to England? And God bless her, she came to see me. I think she was only in her 30s, and she had a little girl. She was a beautiful soul. She was really just a beautiful mother and a beautiful wife, and everything you would kind of want in a wonderful lady. And God bless her, she had the cancer, and she chose to have some radical chemotherapy and radiotherapy combined. And she was in a hospital in Manchester. So she was going to be in isolation because obviously with the treatments her immune system was going to be down. She wouldn't be seeing her daughter because obviously a little toddler will carry, as they always do. They usually pick up coughs and colds. And she was scared, which she was perfectly entitled to be. And I said, well, look, you need to make some sacred space. She said, what do you mean? I said, well, look, you're going to be in isolation. You're going to be in an isolation bubble for maybe up to 6 weeks, 2 months. The treatments are going to affect you in some way, shape or form. Obviously, I sent her off with quite a lot of homeopathic remedies for detox and to keep her calm, and some remedies to help her while she was missing her family. And she said, well, just what do you mean? Make it my space. I said, well, look, if you're going to be in isolation, you need to take your favourite nightie, your favourite dressing gown, your favourite underwear, your favourite photographs, your favourite teddy bear, your favourite whatever, crystals, ornaments, and different things. And she kind of said, oh yeah, well, yeah, that makes sense. And I said, take pen and paper, so maybe you can write down your feelings, or take your favourite books so you can read, Obviously, I'm sure all of you have been in hospital and you're all aware of the space that somebody would have in a private room or a private kind of isolation unit around a bed. But you get your locker, and even if you've got half a dozen books or a journal and some crystals and your favourite photographs, I can't imagine that any of the nursing staff are going to argue with you if you've got a carrier bag full of, personal items, for goodness sake, that are going to keep you sane, keep you strong, keep you focused on that journey. And, I heard from her for quite a while, and she managed to hold her space and keep her spirit strong for quite some time. So, you know, just be aware of what you can do right now to keep your spirit strong. I know many of you are decluttering, many of you are replanting in the garden. My mum sent me some beautiful photographs from the garden last weekend. It's beautiful here. If I go out, I love looking at the magnolia trees. They're my absolute favourite. They only flower for such a short time, but there is one in particular, and I have a feeling I will venture down there later on today, maybe with a book, maybe with a picnic for lunch, and obviously with safety in mind and keeping 2 metres away from everybody. It is very strange, you know, sometimes people say bonjour here and sometimes they don't, and obviously because I can see the energy field and the aura, you know, you can often see that people are, you know, quite down with this, and you know, I just carry my own light. I have a choice to allow myself to kind of get sad with whatever they're going through, or to just kind of have compassion for them. It's amazing in Geneva because most of the people that are sat around or that are out are actually men, and they're on their own. You know, there might be one sat at one end of the bench, one sat at the other, or one walking by the lake, or one part sat by the lake. But predominantly it's men, single men who are on their own, because I think, no denigration to any of you men out there, I realise a lot of you are watching, but I do think men and women deal with things differently. I was talking to a friend the other day, and, you know, she said women are more used to perhaps being on their own, or just coping with the children, or being focused on the children or focused on the housework. And you know, I know there are a lot of male goddesses out there. I know many of you that are tuned in are probably better cooks than me, I'm sure. You might be more capable domestically than I am, for sure. I'm making a generalisation. But it's incredible when you observe people, and I don't mean judging them, that's not what I mean, but you know, when you go out in the towns and you see the different people, and you know, when you see people and they have a lost look on their face, or what the heck is going on, or you know, there's a loneliness there, and I just offer a smile. I mean, so many of the people as I'm walking around, they will look away or they look down. Because even if they've got a mask on, at least you can see the eyes. And I'm those of you that know me, you know that I'm a real eye-to-eye contact person, you know, especially because I see the aura and the chakras. But the eyes speak volumes, you know. I firmly believe that the eyes are the windows to the soul, for sure. So, you know, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, and really look into your own eyes, or just sit with a mirror and just really look into yourself, really look into your own soul, you might be surprised. You know, you don't need to do it for long, maybe 30 seconds, for goodness sake. But I'm just trying to give you some tips on, you know, what to do when you get a bit stressed, when you get a bit fed up, when all of this that we're going through at the moment just gets too much, perhaps. I don't have all the answers. Like I said to you, Wednesday I had a little bit of a wobbly day, but I tend not to identify the day. You know, I think that there's far too many people out there who just say, well, I'm depressed, and then it becomes a label. And I'm sure at some point most of you have maybe been labelled, or you've seen somebody who gets labelled, not necessarily with depression, but some kind of label. And sometimes we identify with that, sometimes it becomes everything that we are, and that is not who we are. We can have bad days, we can have periods in our life which are really, really awful, you know, when I've gone through things in my life, you know, I've been incredibly stressed. But was I depressed? I don't know. Would I want that label? No, because there's almost a surrender, and maybe an inappropriate surrender when we allow ourselves to be labelled. Because if we get labelled with something, does it mean, I'm only putting this out there and I'm making a generalisation, but does it mean if we get labelled with something that we have to kind of play a certain role, or that we're going to be depressed, you know, for the rest of our lives? Anyway, so we can decide, you know, when I have a wobble, I can decide, do I want that wobble for the whole of the day, or just for part of the day, or do I kind of just, we can shake energies off, because otherwise they get in the body, and we can take energy off by simply, it's a Qigong exercise. So if you do that 7 times, maybe you come off the phone to someone and they've upset you, and when you want to bring energies in, you just bring it straight down. So there are a lot of Qigong exercises that you can do to help you feel better. And I know when I had my wobble the other day, it was just about how can I feel better in myself. And am I going to let this day get to me? A couple of things had happened, and just as we all have a button that gets pressed from time to time. So everything is a choice. And even for the most experienced person who is calm, who does meditation and different things, we all have challenges because it's life. So think about how you can help yourself through your challenges, whether you put Bohemian Rhapsody on, or maybe Eva Cassidy Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Maybe you do something creative. Maybe you go and dig a hole in the garden and plant a tree. I don't know. But we all need to go within at the moment, because I know many of you have got maybe partners, husbands, wives at home, and children at home that we can rely on, or we can pick the phone up to a friend. But be aware of what you can do to keep you strong at this time. And the more strong that we are, and we're not strong all the time, I don't mean that, I don't mean it in the inappropriate sense, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But the better we are placed to be happier in ourselves, of course, the more we help other people. But we all need to reach out sometimes. I rang my friend Tony, God bless him, on Wednesday, and we went through a few things, and he just picked me back up. A few of you sent me funny videos and different things, and you're soon back on your perch again. But we're allowed to fall off the perch. We're allowed to listen to our emotions. Especially in the British culture, oh darling, we don't deal with that, we don't have bad days, we're strong, we don't talk about grief, we don't talk about pain, we don't talk about stress. That's complete BS, because everybody has days like that, everybody has moments like that, everybody has times like that, where, we do feel stressed, we do feel sad, we do feel upset. But we just have to decide, we can acknowledge those feelings, and do they consume us completely? Do we talk about other things, or do we not talk about anything else? Do we get completely submerged in those feelings? But we are allowed to feel, and I think sometimes when we have moments of self-reflection, and maybe when we have a lot of time on our hands, inevitably we start thinking about maybe people we've lost, maybe grandparents or parents, or best friends, or many things. And I think if you do, find yourself in a sad space, as I have done in previous times, how can you deal with that? For me, when I've lost somebody very close, it helped when I planted a tree. It maybe you want to plant a rose bush, it maybe you want to write them a poem, it maybe you want to write them a song. And it may be that you want to bury that in the soil, or the sand dunes, or something else. So I'm just trying to come up with some constructive ways to help you through what I call bumps in the road, or wobbles. Because if we know how to get over the bumps in the road, but at least we can acknowledge them. Because how many people just keep going and going and going and going, and we make that decision to carry on carrying on, and then inevitably at some point we crash. The body says no, get lost, and it might result in illness, or maybe we get repeated migraines or joint pains, because we're not listening to the emotions that we have. And when we look at mastery and enlightenment, it's about mastering those emotions. Yes, we need to hear them. Yes, we need to acknowledge them by all means, but do we allow them to control us? And that's why we're all a work in progress, me included. So, rather than saying, Wednesday was such a bad day, it was really crap, it was really this, really that. Wednesday was a wobbly day, moment to moment, but it wasn't a bad day all days, but it was a wobbly moment. So, yeah, you know, sometimes we can have wobbly days because we eat too many jelly babies, or, you know, we've been bouncing on too many jelly babies. So, you know, think about trying as much as you can to bring humour into your day. There's been some lovely Benny Hill clips going around, and there was one by Dave Allen, and oh goodness me, I think the two Ronnies and Harry Enfield, I think they're just classic. But yeah, think about smiling, think about happiness when you look at all the positive hormones and chemicals that go around in the brain when we're positive. But do acknowledge those moments when you just get into that point where you feel that you're banging your head against a brick wall, or you're feeling a part of despair. If any of you need to reach out for me, for goodness sake, then do so. So yeah, you know, let me know if you're watching any good films, if you're reading any good books. If we share our tips of how we're getting through this, then, you know, we all become better people, don't we? So, in true morning style, this was the card I picked this morning. I don't know if you can read that, but it says, to be successful, you have to care about what you're doing. So I've been picking one of these cards every morning while I've been doing these. So on the back is a little kind of verse. So I will read it to you. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of happiness is not misery, it's indifference. Life is too short to waste doing anything other than what you love. Passion and care are essentials. When you take on something that excites you and you care about it, you have a far better chance of excelling. You'll have fun, cherish the moment, and value the experience, becoming far more successful in the process. And I just thought that was really quite lovely. So think about the things that you have a passion for. I realise that many of us at the moment may have a passion about our work, and many of you may work in a cafe or something like that, putting love in the food, putting passion in the food. So think about where you can maybe put passion into your day. If you're spending time with the children, you know, maybe be more passionate about reading a children's story to them. Maybe just snuggle up with them on the sofa and you know, watch a film with them. Maybe get on the trampoline with them. Don't squish them, that's not the intention. Obviously safety in mind and everything else. Think about, you know, if a child, I always remember watching my younger granddaughter watching a ladybird, and they are completely in the moment. They are completely present watching the ladybird. And there were two ladybirds in the trees the other day when I went up to Orvive, and I just watched these beautiful ladybirds as if nothing else around me was going on at all. So think of, even if you just make 2 to 3 minutes every day just to sit in silence, I promise you it will give you a form of meditation. So many people have said, you know, well, I need to meditate. Do I need to do it for 2 hours? Do I need to do it for 3 hours? And it's like, no. You know, a baby doesn't learn to walk straight away. It learns gradually. You know, if you learn when you're cooking to cook an amazing gourmet meal straight away, well, good for you. But it starts with little things. And nobody is good at everything, me included. I've told you I can't drive a boat, ride a boat, sail a boat, whatever. So to put me in charge of this huge cruise liner was hysterical in the dream I had last night. So please just think about where you put your passion. Some of you may not have found your passion. And sometimes if you haven't found your passion, certainly as a therapist, there are different ways to get you to be more in tune with your passion. But sometimes just try something, you know. Get the pencils out, get the paintbrushes out, read a poetry book, and you may well get inspiration. But if we set the intention to keep an open mind, then we're far more likely to find the passion than if we just think, no, can't do that. We are cultured, unfortunately. We are conditioned to accept failure as part of everyday life. And it's so much easier, you know, in relationships to just say, well, that's another one bites the dust, you know, that's another failure. But how many times do we have to pick ourselves up and say, I am going to do this? You know, how many people out there failed the driving test the first time, and they may have got it the second, third, fourth, fifth, eighth time, but you know what, at least they didn't give up. How many times have you wanted to finish the book that you started reading and you haven't, or declutter the bedroom, or, you know, tile the bathroom, or do something? And I'm not talking about making a long list. It starts with one step every day. That's all it is. One step every day. And the more determined you are, and sometimes visualize or imagine the end product. Visualize the completed book that you might be writing. Visualize the song that you might be writing, or the music you might be composing, or if you want to learn the guitar, visualize yourself playing and really enjoying it. So if you visualize your end product, you can start joining the dots. You're allowed to take big steps, you're allowed to take little steps. Think about, you know, crossing a stream or a brook or a river with stepping stones in the middle. And be kind to yourself, you know. Think of all the time you've been kind to everybody else, you've been patient with everybody else. And maybe the one person you should be kind to and you've not been kind to is you. So if any of you are sailing through this lockdown, quarantine, self-isolation, good for you, good for you. Please share any tips, any hints. If any of you need any help, please feel free to private message me. It's all about you, you know. And the better you are, whether you're alone or whether you're with your family, the more happy you are, that energy will spread, of course, to the other people. We all know what it's like to walk into a room and somebody's feeling really sad or bad, and we're allowed to feel like that. But, you know, for how long do you want to be in that space? For how long do you want to give that energy to somebody else, you know? So we're all responsible for ourselves. By all means, we need to acknowledge the emotion, or we need to sit with it, we need to have a jolly good cry, you know, we need to have a shake out, or we need to acknowledge it for a certain time and then maybe distract ourselves by going for a walk, cuddling the dog, watching a funny film, watching a funny video. So anyway, I hope you've really enjoyed this morning's little catch up with me. Whether you're drinking tea or coffee or hot chocolate in the morning, or whether you're having tea and cake, I will bid you all farewell. So yes, have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye.